It's on again, June 12th, Singapore. The summit, and today a top North Korean official delivering a letter that was eventually read, we're told, by President Trump as he headed out to Camp David. But the summit is back on, and where do we go from here? Let's bring in our panel. Tom Bevan, Real Clear Politics co-founder and president. Leslie Marshall, syndicated talk radio host, and Molly Hemingway, senior editor at The Federalist. Tom, significant. We've talked about how the terminology has kind of changed and how the president is saying, you know, it might be one, might be two, might be a number of summits.
Walking back expectations a little bit, but it seems the president still believes that denuclearization is on the table. Not sure that's where the North Koreans are. But yeah, look, the summit is now back on track, and by all accounts is going to happen in less than 2 weeks. And we were just told, you know, by everybody not too long ago that it would be impossible for this to happen, and yet here we are. So
listen.
I was wrong. Do you remember last time I was on your show when you were in Los Angeles? Yeah, I think we're doing that, right? Okay. We were in Los Angeles. I said it would be on. I was correct there, but I said it wouldn't happen on the 12th. And again, it still may not. You know, I think that Kim Jong Un and the president, North Korea and the United States, have very different ideas of what denuclearization mean. And I don't think that Kim Jong Un is going to budge with regard to the troops being on the peninsula in South Korea. I don't think there'll be any kind of a deal unless all troops are gone. We're not going to remove all the troops, so I don't think we're going to be able to get the kind of deal we want. And I think that's why we're hearing the posturing that we're hearing right now from both the president and Pompeo with regard to, this is going to take a little time, we're going to have more than one meeting, and I think that's why. Because I think there are two different definitions here and ideas of what they hope to achieve.
I know a little bit about summits, wrote a little book about Reagan and Gorbachev, and you know, sometimes it's an evolution. Sometimes it does take more than one, and they took Geneva, Reykjavik, Washington, and Moscow.
Yeah, and in this case, if you just think back to when the Trump administration started, there were no lines of communication open. Even there were no back-channel lines of communication open. And here you have, visiting the White House today, a top North Korean official, and really actually a pretty bad guy who was visiting the White House.
Spy chief.
Yeah, which is, you know, it's really interesting just how far things have gotten. I think it is good that people are resetting expectations about what can be accomplished at this first summit, but just the fact that people are meeting is really significant. It's also worth remembering that when Barack Obama said that he would be willing to sit down with bad guys, a lot of people on the right thought that was a really bad idea when he said, you know, I'm willing to sit down with people without agreements beforehand. And I think this shows that sometimes that is a good idea. Sometimes you do have to work with people who might even be, you know, pretty evil people, but just to get things going, and that there might be something good about that.
You know, it's not really known or talked about much, but President Bill Clinton considered going to sit down with Kim Jong Un and instead sent Madeleine Albright to have that, Kim Jong-il, I should say, the father, had that meeting, and that's the picture you have, the Madeleine Albright toasting champagne with him. There was another meeting that concerned the president today. Take a listen.
I didn't like the Russian meeting yesterday. I said, what's the purpose of that? But it could be a positive meeting. If it's a positive meeting, I love it. If it's a negative meeting, I'm not happy. And it could very well be a positive meeting.
I mean, you just hear what's on his mind. I mean, you can't say he's not transparent. I mean, he didn't like the Russian meeting, but he doesn't know what the meeting is about.
That's what's fascinating to me about this is Trump is very transparent and honest, which typically diplomatic speak is much more cagey and sophisticated than that. And he's willing to say, hey, we might get something done, we might not, we'll see, we'll wait and see. It really does have the appearance of a guy who's on a high wire without a net. Which is, you know, a spectacle to watch, but also a little bit frightening. We'll see.
So but the Russian thing did upset some in the foreign policy realm, in that Russia going to meet Kim Jong Un, Leslie, saying essentially, remember us, and what are you doing, and maybe sticking their nose in it.
Not only that, I think Russia's sticking their nose in almost everything we do, especially our elections. Maybe they were helping with that letter the president read or didn't read. But with regard to Kim Jong Un, maybe Kim Jong Un and the North Koreans don't have the, maybe we don't have the upper hand with them, or as much of an upper hand with them as we think. And I think that with that meeting, the president has to remain on his toes even more so.
All right, let me play this one last soundbite, and that is about the tariffs and the implication of that from the president's point of view.
All of these countries, including the European Union, they charge 5 times the tariff. We don't charge tariffs, essentially. They charge 5 times what we charge for tariffs. And I believe in the word reciprocal. You're going to charge 5 times, we're going to charge 5 times. I like free trade, but I want fair trade. At a minimum, I want fair trade.
There's all this pushback. Republicans, Democrats saying, what are we doing with allies? But you know what? Larry Kudlow said this is a family squabble, and we are going to keep the lines of communication open, and we're going to see where this goes.
And free trade is preferable. It's also true that our allies have had really good trade arrangements with us for a very long time. And there were good foreign policy reasons for that, as we were trying to help strengthen these countries during a long Cold War. But the point remains that they charge much higher tariffs than we do. That's not necessarily a great idea. It's not necessarily in our best interest. And these aren't, it's not like we're breaking up a perfectly free trade environment here. We're talking about renegotiating some arrangements.
I mentioned the politics of this, Tom, and as you look at different places that could be affected, it doesn't line up to help Republicans and the president's party in the midterms on this particular issue. I mean, it's more Democrats like Sherrod Brown and Heidi Heitkamp and others who maybe benefit from this.
I think it remains to be seen. I mean, again, this is going to be an election that is a base election. It is all about turning out votes. And so this is something that Trump's voters have. This is one of his campaign promises. This is one of the things that animated the base to turn out for him in 2016.
Even if it knocks down the GDP by a percentage, like by 1 point, I mean, you have a great jobs number today.
Correct.
And if it takes it down like 1%, as Wilbur Ross says it might, and he says that's not a big deal in the big picture, you know, when you have tax cuts that you're supposedly paying for by increasing growth, does that affect people and how they look at this?
It will if it affects their pocketbooks. I mean, if they're paying more for, goods and services that they wouldn't have otherwise paid in October, a few weeks before the election, it'll have a material impact. If the economy keeps humming along and things are fine, even that, it won't affect them. So we'll have to wait and see.